Hey guys, this is just a quick update for a fellow YouTuber that I follow, Faraday Research. Another Canadian, I think he's in Toronto. Anyways, I just wanted to show him something that I've just done and I thought maybe he could do this. I have the same system hooked up. It's messy, but maybe I'll put a drawing together. That input is coming out of the battery charger and then going into the PWM, and I now have two separate circuits hooked up. The PWM goes into that rod and that rod. Each rod goes into a transistor separately, then it goes into bridge rectifier 1 and bridge rectifier 2. The one system is powering the 120 volt light bulb, and the other system is now going into a couple capacitors and going into, if you can see, the power cord of this power supply. So that power supply is hooked up directly to my output. And from that power supply, I just have a 12 volt motor hooked up just for something to do. And that's what the power supply is putting out right now. It seems to be climbing. It started off at about 11 volts. So I think the capacitors are charging, thus increasing the voltage available on the power supply, thus going to that motor and speeding it up. That motor is very high torque. It's pretty hard to stop with my fingers. So yeah, it looks pretty confusing, but if you've been following my videos, basically if I have the same one circuit hooked up to power that 120 volt light bulb, and then I have an identical circuit coming out of that PWM, but running separately through some high voltage caps and hooked up directly to the cord of the power supply, which you can see it's rising, but the amperage is not changing at all, but the motor speed is. So anyways, I don't know what it means right now. I'm just messing around with stuff, and I thought I'd plug in the power supply and see if it would turn on. It's a really interesting effect. Whatever power is coming out of this thing, it doesn't care if it's 120 volts or if I can hook up a 12 volt light, or if I hook up a power supply that's supposed to require 120 volts at a certain frequency. This is all high frequency stuff. This is not low frequency. This is not wall frequency by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems to adapt to whatever I put on there. If I put on something that requires amperage, it draws amperage. If I put on something that requires high voltage, it draws high voltage. It's pretty unique. Again, I don't know what this means. I'm just experimenting. And I wanted to show this to Mr. Faraday Research to see if maybe he wants to try hooking his up like this. Again, this is not, I'm not saying this to like compete with that gentleman or anything like that. I just saw his latest video and you should check him out. He's got some good stuff going on. And he did mention that he hadn't hooked up the power supply, or he wasn't able to. And I just thought maybe he should just try it and see what happens. Because that's all I did. And it seemed to work. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. Thanks.